Hey everyone, this is Wei and welcome back. Let's do another Captain America Civil War character, and this time we're going to be drawing the Black Panther, so it's going to be super cool. Let's get started and I'll talk about the process along the way. Alright, so let's draw this Black Panther from Captain America Civil War. First of all, I'm going to do a slant for the eye, so I know the overall tilt of the head. And this is a really cool character. I love what they did with the costuming on this. Let's see, I'm gonna set the eye so I know approximately how big I'm gonna be drawing it. So I'm just gonna draw in these eyes right here. Okay, probably should slant up a little bit more, but let's just go with that. Okay, so this will give me the relative size of the whole drawing. Now this kind of character, it might be really difficult to draw because I hope I don't screw this up too bad. It's because it's mostly black, right? So there's gonna be a lot of shading. And the other issue is there's a lot of little shiny segments, especially like these little strips, which really could throw you off because you might have to be a little bit careful with the shading. But I'm not gonna, well, let's just see how it goes. I don't want to go too crazy because there's so much detail in this. It's like, if you were to shade it the way it looks, it's gonna be a lot of little shading. Not that I can't do it, but it's just in terms of trying to work it in time so that the videos don't become too long. All right, so this is actually it's a decent size head. It's a little bit larger than probably should have done it a little bit smaller. But anyhow, let's just keep going. I'm just trying to line things up. So any kind of drawing is the same thing. I'm just seeing this overall slant, and I'm trying to line things up as much as possible with these little landmarks, these little strips on his head. And then we can also use the shadowing, right? Like say this is a block of the darker area right here. I can actually just kind of outline that, and that gives me like more reference points. Okay, it's a little bit light. I hope you guys can see it in camera. So this one goes all the way back. Yeah, this is kind of crazy. I'm just looking at it. Okay, what the shoulder point is. Let's see, the nose, shoulder, it's right around there. Okay, so it's gonna come in like this, and then this curves down, and this is all dark, which I got already. Okay, so this is gonna be a pretty big head. Okay, let's see. Now the reason I do have to sketching some of these lines right here is because when I shade it, I don't want to go over. I kind of want to leave the white area so that becomes nice and shiny, or else I might have to erase it out, and it's a little bit harder to erase because I have to use an electric eraser. Okay, so let's see. It kind of looks like a ninja mask. Let's see, going straight up, 2 lines. Let's see the brow line. This one goes this way, goes up. Very angular. Yeah, really cool design on these stuff. Really digging some of these superhero designs when they go to the big screen. But this is a cool character though, Black Panther. Even if it's just all black, which in the cartoon it is, in the comic book it is, it still looks cool. Alright, so this line goes up, this line goes up. Yeah, I might just kind of shade this part because it's pretty big. It might take me too long to shade it. Alright, so here's the shoulder line. Okay. Alright, let's just start shading because I think that's the most important part. Alright, let's go back to the eyes. Let's see, let's outline that a little bit. Let me see make sure everything's in frame. Again, 6B. So now that I have some landmarks drawn in, I'm just gonna go for it and shade whatever I see. This is dark. dark. Here's the little reflection. So I'm just gonna push in hard, or else it'll take forever. Okay, I think this is off a little bit. My little lines are off. I'm gonna adjust them. If I can just create that effect of the shininess and the mask, I think that's probably good enough, because this is way too much detail. All right. It's almost like I don't know, some kind of computer board or something. It's got all these crazy lines. And all right, let's see how that looks. Okay, it's coming along, right? Slowly but surely. So the way I'm shading is it's kind of directional. It's a little bit faster that way. I'm not cross hatching, because I'm just kind of like, if this area is dark, I'm just gonna go ahead and go one way, right? And then this is dark too, so I'm just gonna go like that, without, you know, just without doing one shade and then cross hatching the other one. It's a little bit riskier that way, like the way I'm shading right now, but it is, if you're kind of sure as to, you know, the value it is, you know, you can do that, and it helps. It definitely speed things up a little bit. So if you get it right, it tend to do look better. It looks a little bit more professional, like you're actually pretty sure of the stroke. And whenever the stroke is kind of very correct and just very sure, it just feels more professional. But if you're not, you know, you can always slow down. That's not a big deal. Not a big deal at all. This is darker. I'm gonna go in dark like this. Okay, this kind of looks like I don't know, those wrestlers' masks or something. Hopefully I can improve on that. Okay, let's go back. Let's go to the nose here. Since I'm right here already. So like here, you know, just hitting it hard. There's some gradation going on here. Let's see, let's go back to the eye right here. This needs to be darker. So like here. Yeah, try it out, you know, this kind of shading. Just go for it. It's a very broad strokes. And then go back in. Whatever little details you see, just kind of shade it in over again. And hopefully, if you get it correct, it should look okay. All right. It feels a little shiny, right? So which is good. Which is what we want. Right here, this is dark. This is a really important area, because, you know, this is where the Terminator, you know, the light ends right here. So this needs to be kind of consistent, kind of running across down the face. All right, let's go to the other side. Now, once I shade this dark, it's gonna make it harder for me to shade this side, because you know, my hand's gonna be over it. So, but let's just go for it. All right, let's shade down here. There's this line here. This goes up. This is dark. Dark. The brow. Dark. There's a little bit of line there. Very tricky. So just by leaving some white areas, you know, you feel like there's some kind of three-dimensional shape, right? And it doesn't even have to be all that accurate, as long as there's an edge there. Is my head kind of crooked? Okay, no, it's not. Okay, this is dark underneath the eye. Right here, this is pitch black. So I can go in, pretty sure of that one. Then comes down here. This is dark, there's a little bit of white here. I'll try to keep that. This is dark. Okay, let's see, there's a line here. Dark here. Smaller lines here. And then dark here. Okay, and then again, this is a terminator from the rim lighting. So this is going to come down. This is a little bit softer here. Now, one way of doing it, if you want, kind of what I'm doing right now, I'm hitting all the darkest area first, and then I'll go back in and you know, once I get the dark areas correct, I'll go back in and do shade the areas where it's kind of like have a little bit of gradation or a slightly you know, lighter tone. Let's just to fill this in a little bit. So that's one way of doing it. That way it's kind of like, you know, you're shading, you're creating, you know, all these reference points with your dark, and then now you can go back in and fix up little areas and shading the little gradations and all that. All right, so let's keep going. This is slightly lighter. So this is a little bit off, but it's okay. All right, as long as we get these lines in. Okay. That. So if you spend more time at the beginning, you know, doing these, drawing in these lines, then it will probably make your shading a little bit easier. And the reason I didn't do that is because I don't, you know, that just takes too long. Just kind of go for it, because or else you'll be I'll be spending like 20 minutes just to get the lines in. That wouldn't be any fun. Yeah, I don't really like to do technical drawings, but this is such a cool character. Very angular. Harder line here. Harder line here. More shading. A little bit more gradation here. Goes up. This is dark. All right, let's move back down to the main area of the face. I'll go back up later, because this is the more important part. All right, let's see. Let's add in some more. Let's go back and start filling in some more shapes. Let's see if I can notch this up right now to another level with these little details. Now, see how I'm doing these lines right now? I'm not doing a solid line, because it isn't. If you look at it, it's very complicated. So just by varying the strokes, you know, some dark area like here, it gives it like, it feels more real, right? It gives it some dimensionality, so that it's not flat. So when you do those lines, and you know, just be careful. And if you look at it, you know, they're not consistent. They're not a consistent width, right? It's kind of wiggles along the seams, because again, it's not a perfect seam. It's just like clothing. So there's always gonna be you know, areas higher and lower and things like that. And that's why you get that variation. Very important. Let's go back down here. This is dark. This is getting kind of dark. I can't really see in the reference, unfortunately. Ooh, that's nice. That's nice. It happens because my head's not over the drawing. So I'm kind of extending my pencil more. All right, let's get back to the face here. Let's see if we can add a little bit more detail. So it's because I can finish up the rest of the face, but let me show you how I can do these little areas. So if I just concentrate on a small patch and just kind of really look at it and then put in all the little details as much as you can. So I'm kind of fine tuning right now. It's a lot more detailed. And I'm turning my pencil more so I can get a much sharper edge. So I can get in, drawing these little lines, dark shades. And then hopefully I can show you the difference between, going from something rough, which is what we started with, into something kind of fools you a little bit to make it, make it feel like it's actually a lot more detailed. And this is kind of the fun part, actually. So now you can start to see it come alive. Darker here, there's gradation on the eyes. Actually, I kind of like it white. It's kind of cool. All right. Okay. Well, it's coming along. I mean, I'm kind of surprised. I thought I was gonna totally mess it up, but it's getting there. So try these harsh strokes like what I'm doing now. There's a little bit of grid pattern here. So obviously I'm not gonna draw every single one. Just kind of rough in something like that. That gives it the effect. And then this is dark here. I'm looking at the reference more carefully. I'm seeing a little bit more stuff. Start shading in a little bit more here. Darker, darker, darker. Now there's some lines here, some shading. Very light. Okay, let's see how's that looking. All right, it's getting there, right? I mean, this is kind of cool, this area right here. So you can imagine if we keep going, maybe bring out an eraser. Let's say I went a little bit too dark. I just get a needed eraser and you can just dab it. And that almost gives it like right here, let's see, just an example, I'll just dab it. That almost gives it, that kind of texture that you see in the reference. So that might be kind of neat. It's a little bit messy, a little bit grainy. So let's do that again. That was kind of neat. So let's say if I do that, dab it. Yeah, maybe not that part. Only in the dark areas. So that kind of gives it some texturing. And I go in again and refine it. Like put in a little bit more dark, and then now it feels like I was actually careful right in the beginning. Oh, the fun you can have with art. It's cool. I mean, these are things that you kind of come up with on your own, and you figure things out along the way, and you realize, hey, the eraser works too. So there's so many ways of drawing stuff. And so just next time, just don't be too careful with stuff, or else you're gonna end up hating drawing. That is not cool. You don't want to kill yourself by repeating patterns and things like that. There's got to be a better way. Because if it's too repetitive, it gets boring. So you might as well just make it artistic, make it fun. All right, so this area is going to be pretty dark. Probably won't go over it here. I'll probably do it off camera and see how far I can push this. I don't know. I'll probably clean up this area a little bit more and then call it done because there's a lot of little shading. I don't know, I don't want to go too crazy, but I think you got the idea, right? You see how at the beginning I was just, you know, really hard on the shapes and just hit those landmarks, you know, get those reference points placed in, and then start shading the lighter tones, and then eventually just go in, pick an area and go in and just start roughing it up. Go look at the reference and trying to find little lines, like even now as I'm doing it, just find little lines and just put in little detail. That way it feels like there's a lot more stuff to it than it really is. Okay, and then, you know, just a matter of how much detail you want to put in. All right, so I'm gonna finish this off camera and then I'll show you what it looks like. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back, and here is my final drawing for this Black Panther. And I'm not gonna push anymore because I kind of like this, you know, sketchy look, and I'm running out of paper space anyways. So basically what I've done, I know it's not all that accurate, but by having a lot of details and smaller details, very sharp details, when you look at this, you know, your eyes tends to go to this area first, and then it slowly moves out because everything else is kind of blurry and not as sharp. Now, one thing that I do want to mention, if you're doing this, you see this line right here, there's like a dark terminator here, the shadow area. And if you look at the reference, it is kind of like that. And this is important because the light is coming from this way and it's creating this this terminator here. So if you don't have this like general shading in this area right here, your face won't feel as round, right? Because this is kind of like an egg-shaped thing. So you're gonna have this overall darkness right here, and same thing as right here. You know, there's another light here, and it casts this shadow right here. So it puts this in the shade. So things like that is pretty important for when you're drawing portraits, especially with this kind of rounded shape, you know, like a head. So other than that, I mean, everything else is pretty straightforward. I think I showed it to you on screen already. You know, I just pushed it a little bit further, and I think, yeah, it came out okay. I mean, at least I didn't screw this up because it was so dark that I was afraid I was gonna really screw it up. But I think I was able to capture some of the features and the character of this thing. So anyhow, I hope you guys enjoy this, and if you do, please do give me a thumbs up, and I will see you next time.